that the Election Petition Tribunal relates to the governorship election has handed down its decision, and it is that Governor SANWO-OLU of Lagos State was indeed properly re-elected. People, as they are allowed to, had petitioned against, his victory, seeking an upset that perhaps they themselves, and essentially this was between the PDP candidate, Mr. Olajide Adeniran, and the Labour Party candidate, Mr. Babajide Rhodes Vival. They, had come against the election. And of course, you all know the result by now. Well, guy joining us this morning is Mr. Olatubosun Oshifora. As we talked about this. It's not Olatubosun. That's the more common one. It is actually Olutubosun Oshifora. My apologies.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, you forgive my mistake because
very well, sir.
I'm sure the mistake has happened quite frequently.
Very much, almost every time.
Meanwhile, you were even cautioning me that your beloved father is referred to as Babolu.
Babolu, exactly.
Okay, we're in a good mood. All of APC in Lagos is also said to be in a similarly good mood. And the governor has actually commented on the decision of the Petition Tribunal.
As it is right now, Mr. Deputy and I feel too very privileged and want to thank all Lagosians, for staying with us, for even the very first set of congratulatory messages that were gotten. But for us, it's a victory for all, right? We do not want to come out here and say that somebody had lost or somebody had won. All of us, in the journey of a political trajectory like this, I imagine there are no winners, there are no losers. I still want to give an opportunity, like we did on the night in which we were declared winners, to still give an opportunity to all of the candidates, that contested with us, that if they feel, the passion that we have, and if they feel truly, really committed to serve, we could still sit with them and see in what way they want to serve the state. The state is big, the challenges are real, and the opportunities are boundless.
Okay. Governor SANWO-OLU of Lagos speaking on his own behalf as well as that of his deputy, Dr. Hamzat. Okay. As I was saying, the governor he's in a good mood because as he was saying in there, speaking as a statesman, said, look, it's the victory of Lagos is in Lagos is for all Lagosians. It doesn't matter where you came from. But let's look at the when I say where you came from in terms of the party that you are the candidate of. At the end of the day, the administration in Lagos is for all Lagosians, both indigenous and otherwise. Okay, so but they still went to court as was their right to do. So we had a situation where, as I was saying, Mr. Olajide Adeniran and Adeniran, I beg your pardon, Mr. Olajide Adeniran and Mr. Babajide Rhodes Vival indeed had gone to the petition. Most people think that, without even being a lawyer, we sort of know that there's very little to this whole matter, but it is your right, you're exercising it, so okay, let's go there. What exactly was the content of their objection to the victory of SANWO-OLU and Hamzat?
All right, before we go to the objection, I think one of the things we need to clear is the fact that the court is also a part of the electoral process. Mm-hmm. It doesn't end at the polls where you feel aggrieved, and we've seen instances where cases have been overturned at certain levels of the court and also mandates restored and also certain mandates taken away from certain individuals based on infractions, based on non-compliance with the electoral procedure, electoral laws. And we've seen all since 1999, we've seen how much the court has been a part of the system. Yes. Because I hear people say things like some are court governors and this like that. It doesn't end at the polls. It's a chain.
So that's why you can't really second guess the courts.
Exactly.
You've got to be patient and
Very
wait.
much.
It's not over till it's over.
Exactly.
That probably was the hope of the two gentlemen, Messrs. Adeniro.
That's actually is the hope and is also their right, constitutionally guaranteed right, because you have a right to sue and be sued under the 1999 Constitution as amended. So you talked about what exactly were the
particulars
issues
of the case.
It's amazing how with this past election, this recent election, we've seen some petitions almost bordering on frivolities, and it's so bad that I was somewhere and a brilliant, smart kid, a teenager, was asking me that, "Uncle, why did they take this kind of thing? Don't their lawyers know what they're doing?" And I'm like, "Shut up, you don't talk to a lawyer like that, like that." He was like, no, this is not a matter of shut up. That look at what the justices were saying, And I was like, say, one of the beauty of law, and I tell everybody who cares to listen, when we were doing elementary law, there were cases we saw that almost bordered on nothing. You promised me something, you didn't give me, and then I presume that you made an offer and then there was no acceptance. Those were the cases that actually form the principles of law that we celebrate today.
Okay.
So you cannot blame anybody.
So in a sense,
it's one of the ways of developing our jurisprudence.
Indeed, and that's where people talk about technicalities of the law.
That's also part of the ball game. But sometimes also, the only snag will be where people have gone to court, certain cases have been decided, there are precedents, and you are still going, then your case may now be a case of, maybe the court will just tell us this is how not to be stupid.
Okay.
So
well, that young guy, that young teenager, you can't blame him too much then.
Very much.
When he was saying, "Uncle, why are people?"
So some cases bother on how not to be stupid. so that's what.
Let me bring in Mr. George. He's called in early. We've opened the phones early because most of the particulars of the case are well known, and so we want to give our viewers a chance to weigh in on the matter. Good morning to you, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and thank you for giving us this early opportunity. Uncle Yori is very laughable for somebody who scored 72,000 votes to be contesting an election where the winner got 750,000 votes. So I was not expecting anything different. At least by now, some people know that Lagos is not a no man's land. Uncle Yori, but I have an advice for the judiciary.
Okay.
This trend of somebody getting 70,000 votes and is contesting an election with somebody that got 750,000 votes is because of the use of technicalities which the judiciary had employed in the past. These technicalities, they do not align with sweating to get votes that people get. How do you tell me I did not win election on a matter that occurred during the primaries? The judgment of the presidential tribunal that was delivered in the case of the president recently, I think it should become a standard in election petitions in our country. You didn't win and you want to use technicality to come. That is trying to come to the stage through the back door. It shouldn't be allowed. So, Governor SANWO-OLU, well done. Congratulations. And congratulations to all the right-thinking people of this country. Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Well, Governor SANWO-OLU, he's still saying that he still has this open hand of invitation that those that will, please come forward. Let's work at this together. But it seemed, well, to the credit, Mr. Babajide Adeniro has said that they are going to study the judgment as soon as they get the certified true copy, and that they will thereafter advise their legal team on how to proceed. Because, and what that really says is that there still is a right of appeal, right? Would you be surprised if anybody did indeed go for that?
No, if we take it, we laid the premise here that cases are ways of developing your jurisprudence. And no case is stupid. No lawyer is stupid. There are pointers to how we should go and how we should not go. Mm-hmm. If you go outside there are signboards that tell you, that tells you this is not the way. There are signboards that say stop. There are signboards that says divert. So that's what the court is there to do for us. So there are cases that we know, oh, this case, divert. Don't go like this again. This one, stop. Then some will tell you, continue. So constitutionally, his right is guaranteed.
Okay.
His right of appeal. And then, but for gubernatorial elections, they stop at this level. So that's where he can go as far. But if he wants to pursue further, then I don't know what else is there. But sometimes we've seen also cases where
so there can,
at the lower court,
there can be no judicial review in this situation. No, you can't review this. This is like the last bus stop.
After this point, okay, now for House of Assembly and Reps, it stops here, but they can go as far, they can go higher even than this point.
Okay.
Now, so that's how it works with gubernatorial elections. Now, but the thing is this, you can't stop a man from asserting his right as long as he's acting within the law. Then if he has got the funds, because I know litigation is not, it's very expensive, it's not cheap. And then also, if you believe in the cause you're pursuing, just go ahead and do it. So the fact that he's got 10% of the vote of, less than 10% of the vote of the winner, does not mean that he cannot approach the court. It is now left for the court to now tell him the merit of his case or the demerit of his case. Now, as for the issue of technicality that was raised, a few years ago, the Supreme Court came out boldly and said that the court is departing from this issue of technicalities and all that, where 7 cannot be more than 100. Now, so, and so far we've seen, well, there's been 1 or 2 decisions also that we've seen gone the way of technicalities, but it is the court that knows the law. And that's why it is the court that can interpret the law. It is the court that's been saddled under Section 6 of the Constitution to interpret the law. So the interpretation sometimes, particularly when you are the losing end, on the losing end, if it doesn't favor you, that's when you come and berate the court and people say all kinds of things. Right? But basically, whatever you want to do, any appeal beyond the apex court, you might have to take it to your church where they'll pray for you, or take it to some other gatherings or where you seek God and seek the face of God. That's the only appeal, but it might not be very relevant at this terrestrial level.
And you said earlier, still we're talking lightly about this, that the law and lawyers and the whole process can sometimes be expensive, and so that might inform also how people might want to go. But then again, you don't know how deeply committed the legal team of any particular client might be. Perhaps they might even offer pro bono services. Do you think there might be that kind of a commitment? Because sometimes the lawyer will say, don't worry, if you can't afford it, I'm committed to this case. Don't pay me.
Not for electoral petitions. Sometimes you might have to do, I saw a letter in circulation somewhere in Edo State. Somebody wanted a CTC of all the electoral papers that were used. And the bill came up to 92 million. So whatever pro bono I'm going to do for you for 92 million,
yes,
I must really believe in you.
You must really be committed.
I must really believe in you.
And believe in the person. Good morning, Mr. Kennedy, calling from River State.
Good morning, Mr. Yori, and to your lawyer guest in the studio.
Yes.
My name is Kennedy, and I'm calling.
Please go ahead.
There is this thing that baffles me sometimes. Why do our politicians in the African continent, and particularly Nigeria,
Why is it so hard for us to learn the principles of acceptance of defeat? Is it because of our greed that we want to do everything possible to want to get into that office? So that when it becomes so very glaring that we have lost and that we should not put the interest of the country first. No, we rather just want to keep going at it and keep going at it even if it wants to cost us everything that we own. Why can't we just for once learn the humility and humaneness of accepting election defeat and then put the interest of the country or the state that we claim to represent at heart and let the country move forward? Look, if you know, I know. And for one reason or the other, due to my lack of campaign strategy, you won an election. It will now be incumbent on me to put my interest aside and look at the interest of the country or the state that I want to represent, and then I'll now give you everything that I know who has won the election, and then for us to now move forward. Please, let us continue to help our politicians, Nigerian politicians, majority of them particularly. Let us begin to help them learn the humaneness of accepting defeat and then giving support to whoever has ascended to that office so that we all move forward in the right direction.
Indeed.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kennedy. Not in a disrespectful way, but it has been said that the law is sometimes an ass, and there are those who are willing to ride an ass. And as I said, I prefixed that by saying not in a disrespectful way. And what I'm saying is that the opportunity is there, and people are going to explore it. This is, of course, without prejudice to what Mr. Oshufawara had said earlier, that, the era of technicalities, the courts would appear to be wanting to move away from that. But there are people who are so desperate to serve, let me put it that way, so desperate to serve that they will go to Land's End. And, this is where we are. So I suppose what Mr. Kennedy was saying there, it's a developmental process. We'll get to that stage that he's speaking about, where people will know that, look, it's about service. It's not about me. This was not something for my family. This was something for the good people of Nigeria, or in this case, the good people of this particular state. But until we get to that stage of development, people will still exercise their rights. I suppose that's...
Sorry, sir, I beg to differ.
Sure.
If the moment this elective positions become less attractive financially, you won't see this level of desperation.
Yeah, but the finance is not into, if it was me, for instance, or you, it's not, this finance they're talking about, it's not into our own personal pockets.
I'm talking about those in the pursuit of their dream.
Power. And their
power.
dream.
Because, for me, I feel normally when you've gone to court, the first thing you do is to review what has gone down. In fact, before going to court, you look at your chances.
Yeah.
Scripturally, it says that who starts building a house without counting the cost? If you don't win on paper, if you can't win on paper, you can't win on the battlefield.
And aren't lawyers supposed to advise their clients on the merit or otherwise of their case?
Unfortunately, and I'll tell you how it works. Even on matters that are not...
Sir, let me come back to you. I'm so sorry for interrupting you, because Reverend Dominic had called in. Maybe we
will come.
Yeah, good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Chief Yori. Good morning to your guests.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Yori, if you have listened to me and you have anchored this program since May, I've said it once, I've said it twice, that this election has been won and lost. Yesterday, I was listening to I read the judgment, and the contention of the two parties who come against SANWO-OLU is this, that they are not qualified, or one of them, the deputy, is not qualified. How can you say two technocrats? These men were, first of all, civil servants, have gone 4 years of governance. For you to come to electoral tribunal in all that happened and talking about qualification. That shows me you have no case. That's by the way. My friend George has said what I want to say. Do you know why many lawyers still go to court today when you have 60 votes, the other one has 700 votes, and you want to contend it? It was my state, judgment. You remember Hope Uzodinma, who came forth on the examination. Let me use the examination. Who came forth? Went to Supreme Court make the fourth man the first man. That's why some lawyers are bold. Let's go. If possible, we use technicalities and change your number from 70 to 700. But George has said it all. Time has come, Yori. Our nation is sitting in prayer. Costs of things are so costly. Let us face governance and see how to redeem Nigeria. Nigerian economy is not the best place. Let all these courts stop. Let us move forward. 4 years is just on our leg here. Who believes that Buhari is no more in power? 4 years is just tomorrow. So that people will start again. But the point of going to court, if what I saw yesterday and all that I had yesterday, a qualification of 2 technocrats, this pool has no case. Please, let's find a way to move forward. And let lawyers learn to advise their clients. Technicalities is not a way to go. That is why Imo today is on fire. Because the man in Imo today was not voted. He came forth. Suddenly, he became the first. They call it Supreme Court governor. The governor of Lagos State is Lagos State governor. We shall allow him to do his work. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Dominic. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. You'll still be able to add your opinion or comment to the program when we return.
Marks, I've tried everything. Nivea Lumina 630 works from day one with visible results in just 2 weeks and 71% dark marks reduction in 12. Join the 1 million women already using Lumina 630 from Nivea.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Mr. Honorable Minister, that's how you misinform the public.
From the political actors to the electorate, campaign to voting, from debates to policy decisions, big events happen to engage us in constant conversation.
That's what we're looking for. Not some people who are talking about ethnicity. No.
Who is on your mind?
Don't worry.
Join me every day on Politics Tonight, where we dissect issues that shape our political destiny. Politics Tonight, weekdays on TVC News.
Okay, welcome back, and our guest is Mr. Olutubosun Oshifora, a legal practitioner, and well, as you know, the court has affirmed, well, I can't say reaffirmed, has affirmed the re-election of Governor Babajide SANWO-OLU and his running mate, the sitting deputy governor. Okay, we're taking commentary on the matter. PDP's Olajide Adediran and LP's Gbadebo Rhodes Viber, had petitioned against the governor. Before, I had to interrupt you when I had said that, look, isn't it a very important aspect of the schedule of a lawyer to advise his client on the merits of his case based on his experience? Most clients, not all, but most clients are more experienced than their lawyers in these matters.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it's divided into many parts. First, a lawyer has the duty to tell the clients the merit of his case, the demerits, and the chances in court. That's one. And I assure you most lawyers do that. Mm-hmm. Now, but there are litigants who fancy their chance at the court based on varied perspectives. Some spiritual, some psycho-spiritual, some believe that I've read, the clients will come to you that I've read the law, it says this, these are my chances. And at that point,
if one lawyer refuses any case,
another lawyer will take it up. And then there are lawyers who do strictly, I mean, not disrespect to them, but who do strictly based on pecuniary gains. And they feel if you can pay, we will go. And after all, what we're made to understand is, I'm going there to represent you. I'm not going there to win for you.
Okay.
It's the court that will determine who wins or who loses. Mine is to represent.
And you know, we common people, ordinary people, people who are not learned, think of some matters and say, this is a waste of the time of the court. But who are they to make such decisions? Let the court itself say.
That's why the courts always slam people with litigants with heavy costs. And even recently, we've seen cases where court actually slammed the counsels with heavy costs and fines for wasting the time of the court. Initially, it used to be just the litigants that, okay, this is the cost of, bringing everybody here and not, wasting people's time, wasting the resources of the nation and everything. And then this is the cost of you not sitting down and judging your case by yourself enough to know your chances here. Now, but these days, we've seen instances where even senior advocates of long-standing reputation have been fined by the court up to 10 million and above.
When the court so fines, is it the litigant who pays or the representative?
Now, there are two instances. Ideally, it's the litigant that pays based on what the court has said, that this case has no merit, then maybe petitioner will pay this sum. It's the litigant that pays. But there are instances where the court specifically refers to the counsel. I think there was one that was filed by the current aviation minister, Festus Keyamo, SAN, and the court said, I think it had to do with something on Atiku a few months back, and the court slammed him personally, about 10 million. So, and that we've seen instances like that. There are other.
So it can happen.
So it can happen. So when the court feels that, by your standing in this temple of justice, you should not be the one, you shouldn't be seen doing this.
Far be it from me to pretend to know the law, but it's almost like a case of caveat emptor against all these
absolutely
learned lawyers that come forward. Mr. Baboye, thank you for holding on in Plateau. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Please go ahead now.
You have consumed my credit almost three minutes. You have consumed my credit.
Apologies.
You have to pay for that.
Apologies, Mr. Baboye.
No problem. I'm joking.
Yes. Thank God for that. I've just heard that lawyers can be fined directly.
Permit me to say congratulations to our young. Permit me to say congratulations to our young governor, SANWO-OLU. Very handsome man, very intelligent man.
And his deputy.
That election. It's a clear winning. It's not like that of presidency that people deal with mistake. The first election there that was presidency was a mistake that people could not understand that they should vote for their person that knows the road, that knows the job. You understand me? So when it comes to governorship election in Lagos, story change. Story has to change because they have realized their mistake in the first place. You understand me? So the governorship election cannot be compared with that presidency election. That presidential election was people were somehow blind to vote for a wrong person there. You understand me? So people get clearance, a clearance of the game to vote for SANWO-OLU, knowing too well that he has been doing a good job for the people.
Okay.
Just like what one person said that Lagos is not for it's not no man's land. I think it's a clear indication now that Lagos is no man's land.
All right.
Understand me? By the job the SANWO-OLU has been doing, he should keep it up.
All right.
I'm a personal support to him, even to Tinubu. You understand me? I speak in other stations as a Bob. If you hear Bob, so that is it. What God has sealed it. What is done on earth is done in heaven.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. On the case itself, I think the tribunal determined that the candidate of Labour party itself didn't have any business being joined in that. Was there not the matter about, look, the matters that we expect to come before us are between the winner and the loser. But when it's not against the winner and two people who lost, but explain that area to me, please.
It's an unfortunate development, and it's a terrible gaffe, I mean, on the part of the PDP, because basically the court has explained it that you're challenging the winner, and then you're joining another person who's lost this election. So in what capacity is that one coming in? So, and that speaks to competence also, because now you want to take up the headship of Lagos. You want to rule Lagos, and then you can't get basic things right. Lagos is not a place where you experiment. Lagos is not a place where you toy with. If you can't get your personal businesses right, then they want to trust the life of over 10 million people into your hands. No, this is not time for experiment. Let the people who are there continue. They're doing fantastically well. We're seeing the developments. Everything is coming to fruition. And you're seeing young men who are working hard every day round the clock.
But the court didn't say that. It didn't say all that you've just said now. The court wouldn't have said all of that.
This is the court of people's opinion. No, but left to the court, that was a big blunder. We saw what happened also at the presidential electoral tribunal and how the court berated lawyers that, come on, you're claiming you have won in certain places. There is no evidence. You can't show. So what are you saying exactly? That, okay, if you want to say I'm older than you and we both look alike, then the best thing that speaks is you bring your birth certificate.
Exactly.
Bring the documentary evidence. So you have not brought anything, then is it the court that will go and start looking for evidence for you? So sometimes some of these things, that's why people are beginning to look at lawyers like...
As one justice in the presidential petition said, the only lady there, that did they expect us to go to the market to look for evidence for them? Good morning, Ada. Let me not delay you any longer. Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
That one I was calling from just as you said. Good morning to your guest there. Olu, the name is too long. Sorry. In fact, that of Lagos State, I was just wondering which magic will happen, which miracle will happen, you know? Even the biblical injunction of the last shall come first, and the first shall come last. It will not work. I read my Bible outside, I read it, you know, inside out, and saw how Jesus arrived at that, the last shall come first, and it's not applicable here. So what am I trying to say? Our politicians should learn to imbibe that spirit of sportsmanship, the Jonathan spirit. That's what I call it. Good luck, Jonathan spirit. You know. But again, having said that, I feel that even as much as your guest has said that the courts are part of the electoral process, it's becoming one too many. You know, it's becoming embarrassing. Look at what they said. They read out today. They said they still have about over 3,000 cases pending. That people, you know, it's ridiculous. What is happening? You have to start in our electoral process so we can get it right to some reasonable extent. So having said that, I feel that the courts, all these verdicts or whatever, should now make the National Assembly and even the court, let them now find a way of strengthening our electoral process, you know. For instance, let all electoral petitions be disposed of before anybody is sworn in. So it looks ideal. Then again, the appointment of the chief, the chairman of INEC, let it be shifted to the Judicial Council and then rectified by the National Assembly. You know, that's how it's done in Ghana, in South Africa, and the rest of that. So we can have a more credible elections going forward, you know. And then if there is room, if there is possible, let there be even independent candidature, you know. All those things will help. It's not the electoral process. I mean, it's becoming embarrassing for me, if you ask me. I don't know how you feel, but it's embarrassing. Let the ballot decide who will be our leader to some reasonable extent. I'm not saying that the court will not hear it, but it shouldn't be, you know, a free for all. Now, everybody, well, the lawyers themselves, they're not even helping matters. Anyway, they want to, you know, there's a lot of economic crunch, so they have to, you know, make money. But sometimes some lawyers that are good, they know that they should advise their clients well. Although one lawyer came out one day and was saying, when I confronted him in one of the programs, he said that they told them, but they will not listen. Who is he now to speak out what they want to put in his mouth? All this other about Nigeria, that I didn't want.
Thank you very much, Ada, for calling in. I don't know, this sentiment has been, mentioned often. I think it was Babajide, our Babajide Otitoju, who was saying on his program that it's getting to be a scandal that what politicians cannot get at the ballot, they now head to the court for. And it's to be decried that this is just not how it works. And as Ada was saying, let the preponderance of the process be, at the polls. No, this matter where there are many people who would appear to have the attitude that it doesn't matter what the outcome is, we'll go to court. It's not over till it's over. So whatever the outcome, we'll go to court.
Well, if the Constitution has given you a guaranteed right, then there's no harm in exercising your right. Now, but what people have failed to do is to commend the judiciary, because most of these justices and judges, they've left their primary assignment and gone to the tribunal, and at the end of the day, you find that it's not like they just turn around things, and there are just a few exceptions that we've seen, and there are justifications for upturning those elections. Now, but if you look at the majority, Lagos is an example. Somebody with 70,000 has come to challenge somebody with 750,000.
I mean, that was bold.
Audacious.
Audacious, in fact. Audacious is better than bold in this instance. Audacious is better than bold.
So, but you saw what the court did, and the court actually berated him and his counsels that, come on, we're not playing here. This is, try your luck elsewhere.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like everybody said, go back and recalibrate. Sit down. 4 years is just around the corner. If you want to know how far 4 years is, I always tell people, go borrow money. Before you know it, it will be 4 years.
Blink of an eye.
So 4 years is just down the line.
Yeah.
So
people, well, that's why we just wanted to hear what the people out there are thinking about it. A number of them won't be lawyers. The lawyers themselves are not going to call in. I wouldn't be surprised if the lawyers decline to call in. Say, what? What you doing? What am I going to comment upon? Mazi Okoroafo, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Sir Yori. Good morning, our guest. Sir Yori, you see, we meet in the court. That's what one of our listeners was telling somebody, said, we meet in the court. I started laughing. I said, we meet in the court. It's always the language. But the question is this, we should have that spirit of sportsmanship. You know, when you come to organize a football match, whether it's local one or international one or any community one or even state one, there must be a winner, there must be a loser. But the question we have today is this, the politics we have in Africa, not only Nigeria or Lagos, we don't have that spirit of sportsmanship. Everybody feels that he must be at the top. Like, if you look at what one of these preachers, Dr. Enenche, he said, live each day as if it is the last. Live each day as if it is the last. When you come to a place, know that there must be a loser. But we don't want to. And if we carry the notion of politics, they are going to politics as money or power. That is where the confusion comes. And that is why this need, like I used to say, that if I have my way, let's keep politics as a vocation, not as an occupation. By the time you keep politics as a vocation, we know that if you are going to politics, you are doing it as a vocation. Yes, but the institution that I went by that, there's no way. It's just like a teacher writing an exam. When you write the exam, you must fail. You must pass. It's option. Either you pass or you fail, depending on your preparation, on your own capacity, and the type of the course you have been at what. But everybody does that. No child that goes to exam one that is to fail. But some people have, before they enter, let me go and write this SSC. Right? I'll get the CC. You are going to that exam with that notion of CC. Not that you are going to make an A, because you see, you have already the mark within yourself that by like at least if you get CC, you are satisfied. That is the mentality we see in Nigerian politics.
Yeah.
If we run that mentality up, I bet you Nigeria. Look, this country is very good, though, because if you watch what is happening, you saw what happened in Venezuela last 2 days. What happened? How prisoners? How did they manage to bring ammunition inside prison? You see how the security men landed up that prison. You start asking, how did they manage to rocket ranger inside? So this is technology. Politics is to be an occupation, not as a what?
Okay.
As a trade. Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in. I've heard the term used about at least twice now, this matter about sportsmanship. Never mind sportsmanship. How about statesmanship? I mean, if you want to come in, you want to be a governor, and that's not a sport. You want to be a statesman. And, you know, if you can't accept that you were rejected at the polls, roundly rejected, and you now say, well, nevertheless, we're going to court. Roundly rejected, scoring 10% of the votes.
Less than
10%. So
there was something Mr. Governor said.
Yes.
He said, if you've got something to offer, come. Exactly. Let's work together.
Exactly.
I don't think some of these people have anything to offer.
Mr. Okay, well, I mean, you can say that, Mr. Shipowora, because, you know.
See, we need to.
I hear what you're saying.
The voters also need to start. We have to change the pattern of voting. Let's look at people. What's your private life like? Some of us grew up watching you on TV. We've seen you. We know you. If you come up for anything, don't be surprised at how many people are going to line behind you. There's some of those people just fell from the sky.
Unknown entities, unknown quantities.
Exactly.
So, and then you're challenging, as a couple of people have mentioned, a team, a duo that has served 4 years. And then what are you challenging them with? Qualification.
That's the thing. You're not saying they've done this wrongly. They've done this, you know, they're not up to par here. You're just saying, so you're looking for some backdoor thing. This is not, so Lagos is not where you experiment.
Well, indeed, nowhere. I don't think the judiciary...
You experiment with people's lives.
Yes, they're not going to stand for it. And especially when you want to try and experiment with the law. Where? Even apart from Lagos, anywhere else, what you've just said will probably hold good as well.
Exactly.
Anywhere.
That's why I said, if you can't conduct your case well, your own case, personal case, the court is almost lampooning you.
But, well...
then you want to conduct our own lives. That's been going well under this draw. Come on.
But there's a sense for rule of law. There's an attitude about the rule of law, you know, deep commitment to democracy. And so we allow even those who are behaving in what to some might appear to be ridiculous. But if it conforms...
But not stupid.
If it I'm not going to use that word. But if it just barely conforms to some semblance of being legal, okay, bring it on, we'll throw it out, but let it not be said that we didn't allow you to bring it on. That seems to be the situation here. But Mr. Adediran, you know, has said that his team will study it, of the PDP. His team will study it, and then after that, I can just imagine people rolling their eyes that what are you studying out of this? Which part of this is difficult?
The biggest room in the world is a room for improvement. Let them go and improve on what they've done. At least we've seen that what they've done is not, I mean, the courts have said, and we also have seen it. I mean, all you need is just your ability to comprehend English. There are no, you know those days of using... Law. Yes, the law is simple. The law is there. I mean, that doesn't give you the liberty to go and practice, but you understand what is being said.
Yes.
And then you can comprehend, that, except you don't understand English. Well, that's where you say that some of these things are easy to...
It goes back to what you've spoken about earlier, and some people have also mentioned. Look, how serious are you? They've used the term sportsmanship, sportsman-like. How serious, and I think it was you who were saying, how serious do you want to be taken if you score 10%, less than 10% of the votes that were garnered by the winner, and you're still heading to court with what? What are you taking there? And what are the charges? What are the things that you want the court to determine?
What's new?
What exactly is new? And in any case, I think the Lordship said in there somewhere that even there are aspects of this that are pre-election matters that we don't even have any business looking at here.
Exactly.
You know? So it just...
There's the issue of citizenship, dual citizenship that was raised as well.
Can you imagine?
And I'm like, somebody who was born in Nigeria because he's acquired, and I think that has been laid to rest by the Court of Appeal. That's where I have a problem with some of the councils who actually go for this petition, because All you need to do is study precedents. And you know that these things have been decided.
But you explained it, that sometimes councils do so advised, and their clients will say, nevertheless, God spoke to me.
I have had to reject briefs. I mean, it's not everything you take on, because if you keep doing that, people will look at you like you're one of the lawyer must chop kind of people. Because if you take every brief, what do you want to prove? Because one of the things, one of my guiding principles in life is what my dad told me, that growing up, that anything that's got to do with my name, you have to be careful.
Okay.
So if I'm going to put my father's name on something...
Yes. You think that the councils that represented them, you think they were somehow jeopardizing their own reputation?
I will stay on national TV and be berated like that. I mean, the court just said, why are you adding someone who lost election?
Yeah.
You're suing the person. In what capacity? You want to take his vote? You want to add his vote to your own? Those are things, those are elementary gaffes that should not be seen with a lawyer. If that forms part of a question in constitutional law for a 200 level student, they won't make that mistake.
Well, I suppose the only way to look at it, at least as far as I'm concerned, is, well, the system, the judicial system is bending over backwards to show that... To accommodate. Look, no matter how, you use that word that I'm very reluctant to use, no matter how that way it sounds, bring it on, let's look at it, and then we promptly pronounce on it. And once the gavel drops, that's it. Are you satisfied now? Now it has been written. It is in the judgment that there was absolutely no merit to this case. And, it's just one of those things. But I suppose there's a sense in which you probably would have it this way. Let people come out and make a spectacle, is the word, of themselves.
But the downside of it is that you're impeding governance. This duo are there trying to go about their life and trying to go about their duties. But see, whichever way you want to look at it, there's no small litigation. Your mind will be there, your resources will be channeled.
It can be very distracting.
Very distracting.
Yeah.
So please, I think it's time Lagosians came out and said, please, appeal to these people. Whatever you have spent, we will refund you, or God will replenish you. Let these people carry on with their job. We're satisfied with what they're doing, and then come back in 4 years' time. You can come back. We've seen people, I mean, we all grew up with the Abraham Lincoln story, and we have someone in the mode of Abraham Lincoln at the presidential level too, but we've not seen the outcome of, his own...
We're still working at it.
Maybe still early.
Again, playing into this whole thing about it's a democracy, rule of law allows, and we will, if you want to go there, we will exhaust that process. Well, I think let's just leave this here, Mr. Lutu Bosomoshi Fora, legal practitioner. In fact, you've said a number of things that I wouldn't have said, but it's just as well. You are in the club. You are in the what is it now? An officer of the bar, so you can say those things. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
And, that's where we're going to leave the quest of PDP candidate Babajide Adediran and Gbadebo Chinedu Rhodes Viva. They've been thrown out. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
It's the Premier League all on DSTV. All the goals, all the clashes, all the moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka. Their start is going all better. In the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. Get DSTV with an HD decoder. Plus dish plus 1 month confirmed for 18,500 Naira. It's the Premier League. All on DSTV.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Are you worried about the safety and security of your home at night? Do you wish to know when intruders come close to your home? Or do you want to protect what matters?